Hey everybody, we hope you are having a great day. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of our podcast, 5 Seconds Courage. We are kicking off today with just kind of explaining what the 5 seconds is all about, where that comes into play, where Joseph had the idea and kind of came to me with that. And so pretty much just going to recap what happened last week on our episode, just talking about courage, what that meant to us. We had kept kind of talking about our friendship and how I kind of took a courageous step in that. And we are really excited to get rolling with the second episode. So jumping into it, Joseph, will you kind of walk us through what the 5 seconds is all about, what it means, and what your kind of story is behind it?
Yeah. So we talked about last week the courage part of it because our title is 5 Seconds of Courage. So kind of breaking that down, we talked about courage last week. And this week, we're kind of unfolding and explaining what 5 seconds means. And so where I first had the idea was actually, as a kid, we watched the movie We Bought a Zoo. And in the movie, it talks about the dad is talking to the son, and he's a little scared, making decisions that he's just like not sure about. And so the dad says, buddy, I just need you to take or have 20 seconds of courage. And I loved that. I thought it was awesome. But I also thought, I didn't agree with it 100%. And so as I'm in college, as I'm doing this, I was like, man, it'd be fun to start a podcast. And growing up, my dad always references that line, Joseph, just have 20 seconds of courage. And I still disagree with it a little bit. And so the idea is, because not all decisions, whether they're courageous or their courage isn't involved at all in the decision, there's a long process, or it can be instantaneous, just like a spur of the moment, go here, go there. And so the idea behind 5 seconds is that's the time that in your mind you're just there's a choice in your mind. Do I commit and make the decision and go and be courageous, or am I going to be not right now, And so that's the 5 seconds it's the commitment, because 20 seconds of courage, 20 seconds is not a long time. And so I think what the author or the producer of the movie was there is just saying get the ball rolling a little bit, but sometimes that's not always how it works. And so we're going to be talking about on this podcast going forward, just when we make, in those 5 seconds, when we make the commitment to be courageous, how our lives are totally different going forward. Sometimes it's little, sometimes it's life transformation, but that 5 seconds can transform the rest of your day, the rest of your month, relationships moving forward, and ultimately your life. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. In that 5 seconds of, it could be literally a decade kind of contemplating what the right choice is. But it's that 5 seconds where you're in your mind, you commit to it. And so that's when you can really be courageous. And that's where that decision is made. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for explaining. It's kind of just go at it from my angle too, of what I kind of see. It's just people try to, which we were talking about impulse, of just an impulse decision. And we're going to unpack this actually later on, of just okay, we're not trying to explain or get out there hey, go make impulse 5 seconds decisions that can alter your life. It's where should I go to college? Let me just flip a coin, 5 seconds, boom. It's we're going to break it down more, but it is that split second of just I'm either going to jump off this cliff into the water or I'm going to stand up here. And it just takes that 5 seconds of just let's go.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, just different stuff. And so it is really cool to see okay, 20 seconds probably is a long,
yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. But when you break it down to okay, 5 or even less than 5, just boom. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get after that.
Yeah. I mean too. And so I think we're just going to share a couple stories of where in our lives we've made those decisions and kind of explaining through examples what the 5 seconds means. And so for me, I have a quick little story where I was on a boys' weekend trip in Wyoming with some high school buddies, and there was 2 hot tubs out back, right, in this little clubhouse.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Oh, it's a good one, all right. But we had 8 guys in one hot tub, and don't ask me, it was fun, okay? We were just tight, but we were having a good time sharing good stories, okay?
Definitely.
And then across the way, like maybe like 5 or 6 steps, is another hot tub. And there's a family of 4, husband and wife that are like a little too PDA, like all over each other. And then 2 kids that are just like along for the ride, just splashing and all this stuff. And so we had a little bet in the boys' hot tub, in the packed hot tub. And we decided whoever lost the bet had to go into that other hot tub for just a little bit. We didn't decide on a time. And long story short, I lost the bet. And I was like, guys, I'll do it. Trust me. Like, I'm not going to wimp out. Like, I'll do it. But I was a little nervous. I was like, oh, this is so awkward. Like, they're literally making out over there. The kids are in there. And I just did not want to be a part of it. And so I was like, guys, I'll do it. Trust me, trust me. And of course, they were like, Joseph, you got to go. You lost the bet. And I was like, I will. I just got to I don't know. There was something missing. And after a couple minutes, without knowing that we were having a podcast kind of behind the scenes, getting it ready, one of my buddies, Seth, goes, Joseph, you just need a couple seconds of courage and do it. And I was literally just like, oh my gosh, he literally just called me out on the
about your own podcast.
About my own podcast, exactly. And so I was like, but beside that, it was exactly what I needed. You're right. I just need a couple seconds of courage. So I said, Seth, you're right. I stood up out of the hot tub. And the part I didn't tell in the story was when 8 guys get in a little hot tub, there's a lot of water that leaves the tub. And it's freezing outside, right? You can see your breath. Our hair is freezing since it's not in the warm water. And it had covered the whole deck and then frozen. And so I get out. I take 3 confident steps towards the other hot tub. And boom, I eat it. My shoulder hits the deck so hard. And it's almost like you can feel the deck shake a little bit. I was just everything, I was looking up one way, next second I'm on the ground. It was so quick. And so the people in the other hot tub were like, oh, are you okay? Okay. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I get back in the hot tub.
So you didn't go to the other hot tub?
They were like, that was way worse than standing in that hot tub.
That's probably embarrassing.
But yeah, I know you got a good example too.
Yeah, so freshman year, I was just kind of getting settled in college.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what I wanted to do, how I wanted to make money, but I needed to make money to, just pay for, I knew I needed to be a little self-sufficient there of making money. And so I was driving home. I don't know why I was driving home. Like last episode, I live about an hour and a half away, so I was just on the drive home, not really sure what I was headed back for. And I was just thinking, my wheels were turning. What can I do? What can I do? And I had just kind of a mutual friend of someone I knew that went to another university that had started a cookie business. So I was like, yo, what if I tried to start a cookie business at USC? And I know I touched on that a little bit in the last podcast too, but I was like, that might be a good idea. So I was driving, and that's when I thought of it. I was like, oh, I'm going to start a cookie business. Yeah. I don't know what that means, really. Yeah. I don't know what I'm getting into, as we see now, it got shut down, and I got myself into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But within that, that 5 seconds of I'm going to start a cookie business. And so within probably 5 seconds, I was like, where do I start? Yeah. So I actually called my grandma, who just probably has a lot of pans and stuff. And I was like, Grandma, I got an idea. You got any pans or spatulas I could use? And she was like, sure, honey, stop by. She was super sweet about it. So within that 5 seconds.
Well, did you ask Grandma for any secret recipes?
No, we use Pillsbury dough. But that's besides the point.
Okay.
It was really just boom, I'm gonna go at this. I don't know what I'm getting my hands into. I don't know what I'm going after, but I want to start a cookie business. I want to make some money. So it took those 5 seconds of me being I'm going to do this. Let me call my grandma and get it started. Of being what does courageousness look like right now? Yeah. So that's pretty much my story. Yeah. There was a ripple effect from that I can dig into a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to dig in because that 5 seconds really did shape my life in a few different ways. So we weren't planning on digging into this a little bit more, but why not? Let's go with it. So started a cookie business, got the pans and stuff, probably told my parents about it. They were on board, very supportive. So came back to USC and it's who's going to help me out? This time I hadn't met Joseph. I really hadn't met a ton of guys at USC. So I was like, I got two guys that were living in the same like dorm area with me that I went to high school with, really close friends. Shout out Drew, shout out Simon if y'all are listening to this. But I called them on my way back to Columbia and was like, hey guys, I got this idea. Y'all want to go into it with me? And so that next, I don't know, week, we went to Sam's, bought a bunch of cookie dough, figured it all out, started an Instagram. And so it was just like, wow, like that was quick. Within like probably a week, that one decision of, hey, I'm going to start a cookie business turned into me and two other friends getting cookie dough at Sam's, about to start this up. So we launched, and it was slow at the beginning. Doesn't really matter.
But tell him, now Buddy's a super duper humble guy. And so I'm like his hype man that walks around because he was MVP of his state soccer team.
Stop.
He got like, he's just next level stuff. And so this Instagram account that they started got like 7,000? 3,000 followers.
Yeah, so we really, that first week, with the help of Simon, who really helped us get that Instagram going, but we were just like, what can we do? We were silly. Like, it was not professional at all. It was just like we were goofing off, enjoying it, having fun, creating relationships. So that was a big thing. Like, okay, I started cookie business. We made a little bit of money. But then what came out of that, because it did get shut down, that's a long story, but you can't sell cookies out of your dorm. So if you ever go to college, don't start selling cookies out of your dorm. I got written up. It was a long process.
Yeah.
But what came out of it was literally this friendship, a lot of other friendships, some great stories. I actually told the cookie business story today on my way here. Someone asked me about it, which I don't even know how they heard it. And so it's just like, it's a cool conversation starter.
Yeah.
It was a cool way to make money. It's a cool way to inspire people to like, just go out and do it. Like, you don't really know what's going to happen. I got shut down 3 weeks into it, gotten written up by the school. Who would have thought? But it's like, I learned a lot, I grew a lot, and now I am a better person because of that decision of being like, hey, Grandma, can I have some pans to
Shout
go?
out to Grandma.
So it's really cool to see. That's just one story. And we said this last week. We're going to be telling a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what we're doing. We're going to have guests on here telling a lot of stories.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, that 5 seconds of, I'm just going to do this and being courageous. And like, I could have had the fear of, oh, I'm going to lose money, or, oh, people are going to think I'm weird, which people probably did. Like, think like, oh, a college student selling cookies out of his dorm. But it's like, you got to just put on these blinders of like, because of Christ, who he says I am, I don't really care about who, like, what people think of me. I'm just going to go at it courageously.
Yeah.
And so that's my cookie business story. It was a fun ride. A lot came out of it.
I love it. So like friendships, other opportunities that like you didn't even expect, but because the school like writ you up and like you were on like technically like some sort of probation, like a lot of other cool opportunities came from that.
Oh yeah.
And so like sometimes you think you're making a courageous decision, like going one way, and you're like, I want to be courageous because this might come from it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you make a courageous decision, and in your example, it doesn't work out. But a lot of other cool things do come from it that you didn't even comprehend or think about when you first started, and you were like, all right, I'm going to commit to this, you know? But there's another aspect to it, like where we were saying it was kind of like that impulse decision, but there's also a lot of decisions, and a lot of big decisions too, take a lot of time. Like you think about it for even like years. And I have a good story of, I'm dating a girl now, and her name is Peyton Mole, and we've been dating for about 5.5 years, coming up on 6 years now. We started dating our freshman year of high school. But in high school, I really liked Peyton, like in my freshman year. But she had a boyfriend, and she was way out of my league. There's no way I even stood a chance to talk to her. And so I obviously liked her, but I wasn't going to be that weird guy that stepped in. Like, she was dating a guy, you know?
Yeah,
and so,
bro code.
The bro code, exactly. I didn't like him, but I do now. But anyways, so I had liked Peyton for a long time, but I didn't do anything of it. Obviously, there was like some things there. But eventually, she broke up with him because she realized some personal things that just weren't mixing well with that. And I was like, all right, this is maybe an opportunity. Like, I'd been thinking about asking Peyton to be my girlfriend for like months, right? And then a time comes where I can. We've been talking a little bit. We've been like kind of forming a friendship. We went to the same student ministry. We had the same math class together. And you know me, buddy. I'm always strategically thinking. Every day in math, I asked her what, because we both had the same science teacher. So, and she had it before me. So every day in math, I'd be like, hey, Peyton, what did you do in science today? You know? And so she'd tell me, and just like, you're just getting your foot in the door a little bit. But, and so, long story short there, eventually we start hanging out, and I'm like, all right, now this is the time for the courageous decision. I like this girl for a couple months now, and what if she says no? What if all this? But like, I've been thinking about it for a long time, and it's time to like commit to it.
Yeah.
And so, from right then and there, I was like, I'm going to ask Peyton to be my girlfriend, and my dad hyped me up in the car before I did.
Where were you? What were you?
So, it was at our friend Hannah's house. We were just hanging out that night, and I had been talking to my parents a lot. I talk to my parents about everything. They're my
always.
best friends. And so I was talking to them about it, like, what should I do? What should I say? All this stuff. And my mom was like out of town, I think. And so my dad and I were in the car. We actually called my mom like, hey, should I do this? And my dad was like, you know what, buddy? You just gotta send it.
Go for it.
He didn't say that, but he was basically saying you gotta have 5 seconds of courage. Yeah. And so I got in there, and 5 seconds later, I'm just kidding, it took longer than that, but that commitment that I was like, all right, I'm going to have some courage here. I'm a little scared. She's way out of my league, but I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. And she said yes, and now we're 5.5 years later, and I love her so much. So, and I can't even begin to talk about all the ways that Peyton has benefited my life, or just the relationships that we've been able to be in with other friends and other families. And so that courageous decision probably impacted my life for the rest of my life. And all it was dad in the car being like, hey, buddy, like, you got to be courageous. And so that was really cool to know that little moment of, and everyone, obviously, like, you asked your girlfriend out, like, it's just a little, that commitment to be courageous, like, this is a big choice, and I've probably been thinking about it for a while, but, like, I'm going to commit and send it.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And so going from there, like I said, I can't even begin to say all the benefits and how
it's just a ripple effect of like, wow, well, now I've met this person because of Peyton, or like I've met this person because of my girlfriend Reagan, and it's like we just like, you can't fathom like you were talking about it last week of like, it's almost scarier, is that a word? Yeah. Scarier. It's almost scarier to be like, what might not happen if I don't do this?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't ask her, you wouldn't be dating the same girl for 5.5 years now.
Yeah.
And pursuing something awesome.
I'd probably be the biggest douchebag ever.
You wouldn't have met certain people. You wouldn't have grown how you are today. Yeah. You wouldn't have learned how to deal with another person so close for so long. Yeah. Like, it's all these things where you've grown personally, Peyton's grown personally. It's like, wow, because of that one decision, look at now. Like, your path could have been somewhere else, which I'm not saying your other path would have been wrong or anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, look where you are now because of that one decision 5.5 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, wow, 5 seconds can impact your life
forever.
Yeah, in so many ways too. It's like we would never know really just how much a decision impacts us because we could have been, going somewhere else with our life.
Exactly.
And that's going to come up in other times for us. We know that. We're going to have to pick a job one day. We're going to have to pick where we want to move and where we want to start a family. And like these massive decisions. But then also day-to-day small decisions of like, am I going to go talk to that person?
Yeah.
Am I going to open up about this? Am I going to, serve that person or serve that community or serve that ministry? It's like these small decisions too of just like, what am I going to do today?
Yeah.
Of like, am I going to go out and be courageous and like be bold? And like, we want to tie it back to our faith in a lot of aspects of like,
sure.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, we love the Lord so much and we are really running after him and want to use this platform to show how being faithful courageously can point us back to Christ in so many ways.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, having that conversation about our faith or about how our past has like really impacted us or, different things like that. So that's about it for this episode. Unless you have anything else, throw it out there. If not, hit us with the outro, bro.
Yeah, well, I just want to kind of moving into that, like, kind of what Buddy was saying, like our whole purpose behind this is to share like our own experiences, have some guests on, share their experiences, just talk about what it looks like to live courageously, because not only has it affected our own lives, not only will it continue to affect our lives, but it will also affect whoever's listening to this. Like if they're like kind of have that courageous mentality, like, okay, today I'm going to have or make a couple courageous decisions, it could affect their life going forward or even just their day.
Big time.
And so, guys, we hope that you are enjoying this. We hope that you take maybe one or two things from this that you can kind of apply to your life, or just maybe think a little bit differently going forward, how you make decisions, how you interact with other people, or just view relationships in general. But we're really excited for this. We actually, I don't know if we talked about the bracelets last time.
Yeah, a little bit.
We got these 5 Seconds of Courage bracelets, and we know how we're going to get them to you guys. So we are going to, they're not available yet. We're working on getting some merch, just shirts, sweatshirts, hats. And with every order of any piece of merchandise, you'll get one of these bracelets. And so, actually, you might get 2.
I think you get 2 because our design is, which other companies have done this as well, but it's like, here's a bracelet for you. Mm-hmm. Go give this other bracelet to someone you think who needs it.
Yeah.
Who do you need to inspire today to be like, hey, check out this podcast. Like, it's a little bit of personal branding for us, which we'll like say that. We're not going to like do that behind y'all. But it's also like, hey, here's this bracelet. Let this be a reminder for you when you have to make that decision. Yeah. Don't, buckle up in fear, but like go live courageously.
Oh yeah. And you can share your own story too. Just like kind of share the meaning behind it, kind of the principle behind 5 Seconds of Courage when you give it to a friend. So with any merchandise order, and that's not available yet, but it will be, you'll get 2 of these to share with your friends. So guys, thank you so much for watching or listening to the podcast. And we'll see you guys next week. Maybe make a couple courageous decisions this week. So we'll see you guys.